Hello, algoriters. Oh, there's a disturbance in the chambers. We've been arguing all pre-show because of the topics we got ready for you today. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Al Reynolds, and I'll be serving as your judge. And don't forget, the Court of Public Opinion is the place where you, the people, voice can and will be heard because you will be serving as our juror. So please get down in the comments tonight with all the good, juicy topics that we're covering because we got these attorneys, my legal beagles, are fired up and ready to let you know it. Okay, please be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed, don't forget to hit that share button and invite some friends over here to learn the law while we talk a little bit of gossip about our entertainers and people of importance. Also, turn on your notifications. We've rescheduled the African brothers from the Jussie Smollett case, and they're going to be here Friday with us, spilling all the tea surrounding the hoax. And also, don't forget, we love your comments. Please drop down in the comments and talk to us about what you think about the stories that we're covering. All right, let's welcome our legal beagles. First up, let's welcome that fiery attorney, that civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion.
Hey, Your Honor. Hey, algoriters.
Don't forget the fire emoji represents that civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Also, we have back with us the criminal defense attorney, Brian Ross. Brian Ross from Florida. He escaped the hurricane, is joining us tonight. Brian Ross, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion.
I want to thank all the algoriters who were worried about me, unlike Your Honor.
I knew better, boy. Miami didn't even get extra rain.
Not one text message of concern.
Lies you tell. All right, and last but definitely not least, let's welcome that entertainment attorney, Jay Carter. Jay Carter, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be back.
And I'm going to tell you, Jay Carter has got some perspective tonight that we all can't wait to hear. Don't forget, with Brian, it's the briefcase. And with Jay Carter, it is the
stars.
And here for me is the fax machine because I bring you the facts. All right, first up, Piers Morgan. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Jay-Z and Beyonce, they playing no games with you, and they don't care who you sit down and interview with, and definitely not Jaguar Wright. Jay-Z and Beyonce have made it very clear that they're not messing around by sending legal notification to Piers Morgan and his network to take that video down, take that interview down. All right, I've never seen this happen in years. So I'm going to throw to our entertainment attorney, Jay Carter. Jay Carter, tell me what exactly is going on. Is this just a cut and dry defamation and false allegation case? Or what is this, and why were they able to get that interview taken down so quickly?
Hi, everybody. So essentially, a cease and desist was sent out. I know the attorney is saying that it was an ultimatum, that they just had to take it down or they would be sued. But that's essentially what a cease and desist is. You send a letter warning someone that if they don't stop certain actions, then certain legal actions will follow. And so his very strongly worded cease and desist that he's calling an ultimatum, again, it's coming from the Carters, one of the most, notable power couples in the world. That's part of the reason why it was taken down. And I also think Piers Morgan probably looked back at some of the comments and kind of did a faux pas, similar to what Tasha K did. Remember with Tasha K and Cardi B, part of the problem was when you stay in the realm of opinion, when you stay in the realm of using the word allegedly, that's why we say it a lot on this show, because we know what we do. We're not getting sued over here, right? When you're not using the word allegedly, when you're not stating it as an opinion, when you're stating things as a fact, if you're saying factually Jay-Z and Beyonce are bringing men and women into the bedroom just like Diddy and sexually assaulting and drugging people, you're stating it like a fact. That is when you get into the realm of defamation. Remember, the definition of defamation is either libel or slander. Libel is if you write it, slander if you say it. And if you're saying something as a fact about someone that is not true, guess what? It you can automatically be liable for defamation at that point, especially if they can prove that what you're saying is not true. The second thing I just want to mention about defamation, there are two different types of defamation, and this is why he probably took it down. The more that I think about it, there's regular defamation, and then there's defamation per se. Defamation per se, you don't even have to prove damages. So with defamation, if someone says something factually about you that's not true, that causes you damages, then bam, you have a defamation case. Defamation per se, you don't have to prove damages. You don't have to prove that you're hurt. And there are only a few categories of defamation per se. And guess what one of those categories are? When you accuse somebody of committing a crime. That is the automatic defamation per se. So she was accusing them of
a crime.
Activity. Exactly. And this is why Pierce, I believe, also was scared and took it.
All right. Let me go to you, my criminal defense attorney, because this is what I want to know. We've never seen over the years them respond to anyone. And I kind of believe what Charlemagne the God said. Charlemagne the God said that usually these two are multi-billionaires. Think about it. They're both worth $1 billion, multi-billionaires. They would probably be one of the most influential couples in the culture, right? So Brian, tell me this. What did the lawyer mean, Alex Spiro? What did he mean when he said that he would possibly go after, if Piers Morgan did not take it down, that he would go after injunctive relief? Now, hold that thought for 1 second, because I'm trying to understand what does injunctive relief means. But I want to go back to my original statement. Charlemagne the God said that he felt that they would have never responded if it wasn't for the platform that Piers Morgan represents. So is he saying that they would have never responded if it wasn't for the people that Piers Morgan audience touched, like white people? What is he actually saying? And what is he saying also when he talks about when the lawyer wants injunctive relief?
Piers Morgan had a huge following, and correct me, it slips my mind what network he was on. Is it CNN?
Yeah, I want to say it was one of the bigger ones for sure.
It was one of the bigger networks for a long. He was that Larry King. He was that
right
kind of early late night talk after news, after dinner. He had major hitters on his show, right? So if Jaguar Wright comes on Ebony Mass's, an imaginary name I made up just for whatever show podcast, and says, well, guess what? Jay-Z was at Diddy parties. You're going to get heard by 10,000, 100,000 people. But Piers Morgan has, in my opinion, a bit more degree of credibility because of his previous platforms.
Got it.
So if he goes on that type of show and she says that, now all of a sudden it's validated because of Piers Morgan's previous credibility, and his audience is broad. Now you have Karens in suburbs of America saying, wait a minute, Jay-Z, who she only knows Empire State of Mind and a couple other songs when she was partying in the 90s in the club. Right? She's married with 2 kids and a Volvo now. But if you take her back to 97, she was bouncing around.
Check it out.
Okay? So wait, Jay-Z, we played him at my wedding. He's like Diddy, and that's what they don't want because it's going to kill everything. They're doing Super Bowl deals from time to time. He's an advisor to the NFL. He has Rock Nation Sports. He has all these corporate. He has gone from just being a musical artist, a rapper, to an
entrepreneur,
corporate America, white collar guy. So to go in there and accuse him of that, and who knows what type of doors could be opened through these allegations.
Attorney Turner, tell me though, what happened to First Amendment and platform responsibility? It's First Amendment. It's First Amendment.
I mean, the First Amendment is alive and well in these United States, and there are limits to what you can say. So just as an aside, when Brian was talking about Karen in the suburbs, all I was saying that Karen says every day, my husband got 99 problems, but I ain't one. But anyway, so it's Jay Carter's point. If you're communicating truthful information or information that's your opinion, like I think that Jay-Z and Beyonce are trash. I think Jay-Z and Beyonce, like things that can absolutely not be proven truth or false. There's no falsity, true component to it. That's a different thing. But when you're saying they did X and the X that they did is immoral, criminal, and or criticizing them in their profession, like another category would be, I heard that Jay-Z didn't write his own songs, right? Like all of those kinds of things are defamation per se. And so that's why they're going after it so hard. But the other thing is, I mean, Jay-Z and Beyonce collectively have a ton of money. So the reason why Piers Morgan did this retraction is, one, as somebody pointed out in the chat, he's already been down this road with Meghan Markle before, where he got slapped on the hand for being racist. And I think he lost his prior job because of what he said with her.
Right.
Two, there is this desire to be in good graces with celebrities up and until some of this stuff is proven. And so right now, especially with Diddy's fallen star, Beyonce and Jay-Z are the royalty of the hip hop community. And so you don't want to be on the wrong side of them. And so even if later they get implicated in something, right now, there is no truth to it. And this Jaguar person probably isn't a reliable historian.
I think I'm with Dominic Brooks. Dominic Brooks says if Jag was, because it was a platform, I think it became an issue. I don't know. Something in my gut tells me that this is more reputation management than this is a legal issue. And I think that the reason why I say that I think it's more of a reputation management situation is because he said that this is not just a cease and desist. This is an ultimatum. And Jay Carter in the chambers earlier, as we thought about this, you said those are the same things. Those are the same things. I think that he made it known in the media that it was an ultimatum because he's protecting his client's reputation more than he's leaning on the legalities of what was said and who it was said by.
I think two things can be true. I think in this situation, it is reputation management and it's a legal issue. If you get on a public platform or publicly in any way said that I committed a crime and I'm a huge celebrity, and as Brian pointed out, I've got deals with the Super Bowl and all these corporate people and things like that. Yeah, you getting sued, or at a minimum, you're getting a letter from me. So I think two things can be true.
Okay. All right, everybody.
Let me ask you this question. I don't know, Judge. Piers Morgan got the cease and desist letter, right?
Yes.
But did they send one to Jaguar Wright also?
That's a good question. We never heard any cease and desist sent to her. That's a good question, counselor. Why wouldn't they send it to her, and why wouldn't they make it a big deal? Why wouldn't the lawyer make it a big deal to send it to the person who committed the crime? That's why I think it's more reputation driven. It's more reputation management than it is a legal issue, because I think there are certain statutes, and I remember this when I was going through this type of stuff. There are legal statutes that simply because you are a public figure that you have to just endure certain things. I want us to revisit that. That is an excellent question, because if the issue is that she lied, why wouldn't you attack her as well as the show? Why would you make a big deal about attacking Piers Morgan? Why would the lawyer just make it a big deal about attacking Piers Morgan? Why would
Piers Morgan has the bigger platform, but trust and believe, if it didn't come down, it would have been like the Tasha K. Cardi B suit. Cardi B sued Tasha K. because it was Tasha K's platform. Right. And then the woman that went on there to say the things, because you got to remember, Tasha was just interviewing somebody that was saying stuff about Cardi B.
No, she also repeated it and posted it.
Well, she repeated it without saying
it. She really messed up.
She got in trouble. Right. But what I'm saying is, trust and believe, if this didn't come down, that lawsuit would have not just said Piers Morgan. It would have also had Jaguar Wright's name on it. Yeah.
I agree with you, though, Counselor Ross. I feel like if this was really about what Jaguar was saying, considering all the things that she is saying, that lawyer would have put her name in that press release about the ultimatum, and as well as about the lawsuits and the cease and desist. Okay. All right. Great conversation, Legal Beagles. Great conversation. All right. Speaking of great conversations, Kanye West, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. Oh my gosh, dude, we are getting tired of you. Ooh, and now he has green eyes. All right. So Kanye West
Why y'all
creepy
use this
picture.
picture?
That's a creepy.
Why did y'all use this picture?
Yeah.
That's because our bailiff is shady. Our bailiff is shady.
This is a terrible picture. Oh my god!
I actually thought it was a good picture. I
It
like
looks
the
like an
picture.
alien.
Anyway, Lauren Pashota has filed a claim against Kanye West. She's alleged that West drugged her drink and subsequently committed sexual abuse. Under U.S. law, sexual battery refers to a non-consensual sexual contact that occurs when the victim is unable to give consent due to factors like intoxication or being drugged. Now, our chambers got really hot here today because Jay Carter said that if it was at a Diddy party and Diddy's the one that drugged her, that Kanye should not be responsible wholeheartedly for the assault. Boy, did the rumbles of the walls fall in at that time. All right, Jay Carter, I'm going to pass to you first because you were very vocal about this.
Well, you are
And-
passing it to me as you throw me underneath the bus.
Beep,
I threw you, no, look, let's be clear. Let's be clear. I threw you under the bus, backed up, back over you.
beep, beep.
That's fine, but I
We
understand
done
the
ran
law.
back over
Well,
you.
I can
We done
handle
ran back over you.
jump
No, hold
shot.
on. You're right. We won't start with you. Let's start with Attorney Shatan Turner. Shatan, talk
Clarify my statement. This is for the comments to be worried. Like, what is she talking about? No, no,
Ma'am,
start with
ma'am.
me.
ma'am, I threw to you. You said you didn't want it. Now you
I
want
do
it.
want it because
Okay.
I want to make sure people don't think that I'm just saying people should just be assaulted once they drink.
All right, so guess what? I'm not going to you first. We're going to Attorney Turner. Attorney Turner, talk to me about this case and why she's able to make this claim. The two things that I want to know is it feels like a little bandwagon for me, if you want my honest opinion. It's funny how she's bringing up a situation that happened at a Diddy party. She possibly, in my mind, I think is trying to get ahead of a videotape that might be coming out about her. And so instead of taking responsibility for her being loose and wild, she decided to turn it into a possible sexual crime. Now, I always, if you guys know me and followed me on air, I always believe the victim. That is who I am. But this right here, something is telling me something in the milk ain't totally clean. But I need for you to talk to me about her, what she's saying as it relates to her sexual battery. Also, talk to me, why did she also add into this case the workplace harassment and wrongful termination?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. So, two things. One, free bit of legal advice to the algoriters, not legal advice, just practical advice. If no one has thought of or told you this before, do not, and I got this from my grandfather. As far as I know, he was never at a freak off, but he's not here anymore. And so I'm not sure where he learned this advice. But when I was going to UVA, Al, one of the things that he told me is when you get there, do not put your drink down. Do not take a drink from anybody else. So once you decide to take a drink from someone or you have your drink down, you run the risk that somebody put a Mickey in it. That's what my grandfather called it. That's not what's coming out with the freak offs, but that's what I'm saying. They would drug you. So in this case, how it ties to Ms. Pashotto's claims is that if she was impaired before she had sexual relations with Kanye West, then that, and he was aware of that, right? Then by definition, that was a sexual assault. It was a crime. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter if she's been on video at Girls Gone Wild during spring break, flashing her shirt and her breast to everybody. It doesn't matter if she won the twerking contest in 2018 at Magic City and she can make it clap. It does not matter, right? If she was impaired when he had relations with her, then that is what would constitute a crime. And so this is going to have to be proven, from her lawyer and from his lawyer. He has to show, her lawyer has the burden of proof. And so it might be kind of an uphill battle because it's going to be he said, she said. He's going to say she wasn't impaired. And so that particular point, based on what's been described in the media, is the difference between having a good time and sexual assault.
Attorney Brian Ross, you're the criminal attorney here. Tell me, what about the statute of limitations? It's got to be past the statute of limitations. Why does she even get a voice with this conversation right now?
On the criminal, as a criminal, are you talking about as a criminal or a civil matter?
Well, this particular case is criminal, civil, and what else? It's all of them stacked together,
civil.
right?
Well,
No,
he hasn't been charged with a crime, correct?
no,
No, no. This the possibility is that it's criminal, civil, and reputation.
It was in California. What year was it?
I'm not sure, but it was a Diddy party.
But this is a to be clear.
Poor Diddy. It was a studio. He was at a studio in Santa Monica, and they had a party. And what she said was that Kanye screamed out, "Anybody who doesn't take a drink has to leave." So I think that statement in and of itself, if true, right? These are all unproven allegations, is a bit scary because it shows a mens rea, right? So now Kanye can say, if they can validate the statement. What did I tell you about Diddy in January 2024? Too many witnesses. They can get 4 or 5 people. Were you at the party? What was it said? Yeah, believable. Jury can hear it. Whether he had personal knowledge of the drink being laced becomes less and less valuable at that point. So now a criminal proceeding can happen. I'd have to look. If you give me a second, Judge, as we say in court, put it on recall. I can get you the statute of limitations and tell you what it was if you give me a moment.
All right, let's do it. All right, Jay Carter, let me hear what you got to say over here.
Well, Brian is looking up the statute of limitations for assault and criminal.
Now, before you share this, please remember that there were multiple times that he sexually assaulted her. That she's saying it wasn't just at this party; it was also in a hotel in San Francisco. There was an alleged sexual incident there. There were also him sending her pictures of his penis. And all types of stuff, allegedly pornographic content of what he wants to do to her. So I just want you to just preference all this before you share your lean in.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. So let's just take one thing at a time here. So as it relates to, first of all, let me start off by saying this is a civil lawsuit that alleges various allegations. Right.
Okay.
So when you have a civil complaint, you can actually put in your civil complaint sexual assault. Yes, sexual assault is criminal, but guess what? It's also civil. And it's actually better to put it in your civil lawsuit because A, you get money, and B, there's a lower threshold of what you have to prove. And under civil, it's preponderance of the evidence or more likely than not. Criminal. Okay. The state has to prove it beyond the reason of doubt. There has no California police judge, whatever, has charged Kanye with a crime. Now, it can turn criminal, as Brian will talk about in a few seconds, depending on the statute of limitations. Yes, it can always turn criminal. But right now, let's just focus on the civil. This is really a wrongful termination lawsuit layered with a sexual assault claim. And the reason why I say that is because the place.
So wait a minute, counselor. You're saying that the reason why she's screaming rape. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
I'm going to tell you
the reason why she's screaming, ma'am. The reason why she's screaming rape is because she got fired by Kanye West.
That's not the only reason. But keep in mind, if this was solely a wrongful termination case, we would be talking about it on Court of Public Opinion. She had to throw in, not to say the alleged sexual assault stuff didn't happen. But what I'm saying is she made sure she threw the kitchen sink in with this lawsuit so that it could rise.
Gotcha. So it basically elevates the gravity of it. Okay, got it. Okay, I'll give you that.
So as I was saying before, the showing of the pictures, saying inappropriate things, that's all hostile work environment, right? And then you go into the wrongful termination. She said that she first learned of any sort of sexual hookup with Kanye because allegedly Kim had called him and gotten in an argument saying, I know you're sleeping with your assistant. She overheard it again, allegedly. This is what she put in her complaint and said, oh, no, I'm just your assistant. I'm not hooking up. I don't want Kim to think I'm hooking up with you. Let me give her a call and let her know I'm not hooking up with you.
So she lied.
Well, no, this is how she quote unquote learns. She goes, let me call Kim to say I'm not hooking up with you. And he goes, oh, well, maybe, he laughs allegedly. Maybe you shouldn't do that because, you have been kind of, drinking and smoking. Servicing
me at the hotels.
Right. So in fact, we have been hooking up. You maybe not recall it, but we've actually been hooking up. So she is claiming, again, allegedly, Her learning that she hooked up with Kanye was her trying to defend her honor with Kim Kardashian, allegedly. And again, this is what she wrote in her complaint. Now, if there's been a separate incident, and obviously I don't know too much about the separate incident in a separate hotel room, but as it relates to the lace drink situation, I think the point that I was making that Shaitan pretty much made for me is that yes, Shaitan is correct. The minute you're impaired and that person knows you're impaired, you can't give consent. So bam, you have the sexual assault. However, in this case, if they're both impaired, or if he's claiming she wasn't impaired, or he didn't know she was impaired, then you don't have a sexual assault. So it's all about the mens rea, sending it
Right
back.
now, okay, I got that. I definitely got that. That makes perfect sense to me. But it's the multiple times in which it occurred is what got me. So I can understand if it was a one-off and you make that argument, but we're talking more than one time. She's claiming that it has been more than one time that they've had some type of sexual battery involved. Attorney Brian Ross, have you had time to look at the statute of limitation for
I have.
the state of California? Before we go into the statute of limitation of the state of California, I want to know this, okay? Doesn't the history, like, doesn't he's now, his stories are starting to percolate like Diddy's stories. A lot of people are coming forward, and especially in his work environment, about bad behavior. Does that play any role in this influencing of credibility on her part and also decreasing credibility on his part? And then take me to the statute of limitations, please.
All right. So in law, right, there's various types of evidence, and we're going to keep it very, very vanilla. Okay, Judge?
Okay.
There's reputation, right? There's opinion,
Okay.
right? And there's specific acts, right? There's a backdoor stop to all that called hearsay, which is common sense to people on your show. Hearsay. So most things are inadmissible until you get to sexual assault, negligent hiring, defamation, those types of acts. A lot of times, reputation, opinion, and specific acts can come in. I've known Kanye since high school, and he sexually assaulted half of the cheerleaders. I was on that cheerleading team. Sometimes those things can come in. Now, I'm not nuancing California law, but generally speaking, sometimes those can come in. Problem for Kanye on this is, I look up the statute of limitation. It's a whopping 10 years.
Oh,
so
jeez.
She's well within, I think she alleged allegations for 2021. So
right.
He's well within the 10-year limitation, and he is going to be liable for that.
And to Attorney Ross's point, there's
this is crazy.
Hearsay gets objected to because you're offering the statement for the truth of the matter asserted, but you can offer statements into evidence just for the point that they were made. So like as Attorney Ross was saying, if he said, you got to leave if you don't take a drink, you know, the fact that that statement was made can be part of the evidentiary, can be put into evidence just for it was made, right? Not whether it's true or not. And so like there could be, as you're talking about his reputation, like, are there multiple people who have said Kanye is a rapist, right? Whether that's true or not is a matter to be proven, but whether those statements were made might be something that could get into court, and it could be highly prejudicial to a jury.
Wow. Just let me say something to you. The last thing you want is Kanye West to take the stand. You do not want Kanye
West.
If
you're his lawyer, you definitely don't.
You don't even want him in the courtroom. He's going to show him a pink blow-up suit. It's going to be a problem. Talking about this from Versace. Like, you know, Kanye's
this is going to get
this is going to get interesting. Is it me or okay? I want to be sensitive about what I'm getting ready to say. Are we excited to finally have the conversation around sexual assault and battery against women at the level that we're having it, because we've never had it at this level before? Or are we also chartering very murky waters with entertainers, specifically Black male entertainers, who are being constantly charged with this type of conduct? And is it fair? where's the legal line here in the conversation of I feel like there's got to be some type of redemption to where women are finally being heard for being taken advantage of, but there also has to be a line that we draw to make sure that people aren't taking advantage of this redemption. Would anyone like to speak on
Yeah, I'll
this?
say it. It's a bunch of money hungry, bag grubbing women being represented by Tom Turner who want to come
Wait a
out here
minute.
and try to get rich off somebody, knowing that you was at
Wait a
the
second.
studio, you wanted to kick it and get the ring, you wanted to get part of my $1 billion franchise, and
Oh
now
my
I said you're
God.
gonna bring it up.
I
Bunch
wasn't
of
gonna go
Tom
back.
Turner,
Attorney Turner.
red wine representing
I'm putting my hand up.
bunch of
No,
money hungry, bag
Order
grubbing.
in the court, please. Oh my
Attorney
God.
Paul said he was coming after me in chambers. He's coming after me now, and
He's coming after you.
It's funny. I actually recorded something earlier. I was going to try to post on my YouTube channel to kind of revive it, but I do think that there are two things that we have to be careful not to play the race card too much, right?
Okay.
In this context, because Black and other women of color are worth as much as white women. And so we don't want to try to undercut their complaints in a way that we haven't done for other women. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I'm going to say this, I think what's happening at this time is actually an indictment of hip hop culture. And I think that hip hop culture has raised a generation of men and women. And what's been the subtext of it is women are bitches and they deserve what they get. And so that's what I think is actually on trial now with all of this stuff. And I think that it's not limited to Hollywood. It's happened in college campuses. It's happened at nightclubs. Like, this is an opportunity for hip hop culture, which is parenthetical Black people a lot of times, right? To decide, what are we about? Do we value women or don't we value women? Do we think it's cool that people get taken advantage of as parties and we leave and we laugh because we saw her and she was so drunk and we left her and thought she was going to get done, right? No, she wasn't going to get done. She was going to get raped, right? Say the R word, call it what it is. But I won't go too much on my platform. But I don't think, at least from what we've heard so far, what happened to Diddy did not happen to Diddy because he was Black, right?
Right. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But what I'm saying now is, at what point are we bandwagoning, right? When you open up a hotline and you got thousands of people calling in, 13,000 people, you can't tell me that all 13,000 people who called that hotline were raped or drugged by P. Diddy. I don't care what you tell me. I just won't believe it. Okay, that's excessive. I think that's right. I think that's not cool. Okay.
But here's the thing.
Hold on. I got you. I'm gonna go to you, Jay Carter. Just give me 1 second.
Mhm.
And now it's like everybody that's had a situation with a Black male of color that's got money in the industry now has been opened up for indiscretions, and indiscretions in the sense of accused of a crime. So how do you cipher through the emancipation of finally women being able to tell their truth versus people taking advantage of what I would consider the trend, right? Jay Carter, I'm going to you.
I think the short answer is lawyers have to do a better job at vetting these complaints before they announce them. I'll be honest with you, because as you said before, this Busby attorney out of Houston that opened up a hotline and got 120, out of thousands he was able to vet. As of today, not to get too much into Diddy, but as of today, Diddy update, five
more.
Those 120 have been filed.
Right.
So he said that he had 120 and that number could go up, but he definitely had 120. He had vetted. So he has started off with the 5 of the 120. So my thing is, he warned us. It's starting to happen with these additional lawsuits. Again, I believe the short answer is to prevent the bandwagoning effect. I think we need more responsible lawyers. We need lawyers that are not just going to take the case because it mentions Diddy or Kanye or somebody in hip hop, and they also want to get their 5 minutes of fame, and they file this complaint just on the hope and dream that whether their client is telling the truth or not, it'll get settled because they just want it to go away.
Right. And real quick,
this falls on the lawyers.
Right. And real quick, let's go back to you, Attorney Ross, because you're the criminal attorney here. And then to watch my other concern is watching Hollywood use these incidents to create these quick shows. I watched that Diddy special on ABC that they put together. It looked like they put it together in 2 days of all these people talking against him. And then to watch the Chris Brown accusations, and then to watch the R. Kelly accusations, and then to watch the Kanye West accusations. Brian, as a criminal attorney, what do you feel is happening, and where does the blurry lines of the law come in when it comes between, civil, criminal, real, not real, close, not close, trend, not trend?
I mean, it's all over the place, right? I was watching something the other day. And Method Man, who is one of my favorite rappers of all time, is walking down the street and someone stuck a microphone in his face and said, "Do you think that's what's happening to Diddy is an indictment on hip hop?" And that's what Shaitan was saying. And I think that it is. And what you see now is that local law enforcement is actually using the media and civil lawyers, right? Like Jay Carter, like Shaitan, like Simone Redwine, who sue these people or defend them. And the information that these lawyers file, right, is public. The civil lawsuit, you can go log on to the clerk's docket. You can download it online from most major jurisdictions and find it. If it's a criminal case, it's hard to find that stuff sometimes. They keep it under seal, or it's not posted because they don't want to have someone's record be tarnished publicly until it's proven. So I have to send a runner down to the clerk of court's office to pull documents and or actually sit in a judicial hearing if there's not a gag order or the doors are closed to learn stuff. So the police are just sitting back saying, let these civil lawyers knock all this stuff out for us. They're set to do the investigation, and then we'll pull the files, which is what you see happen to R. Kelly. Remember, they didn't go after R. Kelly right away. It wasn't until they produced this TV show that they had all this information and went after him. Same thing with Diddy. That's a Fed investigation. It took a long time. So all these other high-profile people like Kanye, they gotta watch out. I wanted to say this about Beyonce and Jay-Z a few minutes ago. Yeah. Jaguar Wright said these things, right? And this ties in. Jaguar Wright said these things. They may not be true, but do you really want a lawsuit on this? Do you really want some lawyer with nothing to lose to start pulling apart your background? So you talk about they can do something about it. Really? I mean, so these things are interesting to me. We'll see what happens.
All right, everybody. I told you the chambers were hot, and hot is what it is. Okay, these likes aren't liking. Be sure to hit that like button if you're enjoying tonight's show. Don't forget the subscribe button and the subscribe share button. Turn on your notifications and keep these chats coming. I agree with you, Shaitan. I think this does feel like the next wave of Me Too, but it's Me Too in the hip hop culture, right? And those that are accused are vulnerable because of their alleged behaviors. I agree. All right, don't forget, if you've enjoyed the commentary for Shaitan Turner, be sure to throw those fire emojis in the chat, those briefcase emojis in the chat for our criminal defense attorney, the fax emoji for me. And why do I always forget the emoji for
star?
Star. Oh, that's right, because she's the star. She is a star for the star.
Entertainment stars.
Star, you're a star.
You're a star. All right, I almost had to put her out the chambers earlier, that star of hers. All right, let's keep it going. Dr. Dre, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. My goodness, all of our major icons in hip-hop are staying in the Court of Public Opinion. Now, Dr. Charles Sophie has a lawsuit against Dr. Dre. He claims that Dr. Dre has subjected him to an ongoing campaign of threats and harassment to the point where he fears for his safety, and he wears, Attorney Ross, he wears a bulletproof vest in public. If proven, these allegations could amount to civil harassment, which refers to the behavior that causes emotional distress and fear of personal harm. Now, this is the kicker. In California, where this case is filed, civil harassment claims can lead to restraining orders, financial damages, and other legal penalties. The repeated late night messages referenced in the lawsuit could strengthen the case as consistent threatening communication shows an intentional pattern of harassment. Criminal defense attorney Brian Ross, take it away. Who knew? Who knew that you telling him? I guess this is my question. He's his therapist. You're in a therapist's office because you're a little, you need help. You need to iron some stuff out. You could be a little extreme. You could fly over a couple of cuckoo nests, I guess, in some cases. Isn't that what the therapist is supposed to do? So when does the line become, this is my professional job to help you manage this psychosis, and, but in this case, because it's Dr. Dre, I'm scared for my life. And what he says, I can no longer physically or professionally manage his mantics. Okay. A couple of questions I have here. If he couldn't handle it, why didn't he block him? If he couldn't handle it, why didn't he delete him? If he couldn't handle him, why didn't he fire him as a client? Attorney Ross, take it away.
First of all, Kenny Black, in your comments, keyboard thugging your therapist is a new low. I think that's hilarious, but I want to tell you about that. That's really funny. Keyboard thugging. I'm gonna use that, in my practice. I'm like,
keyboard thugging your therapist is a new low.
You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre, I thought you was a real gangster. What are you keyboard thugging? How you gonna be a thug in Beverly Hills? It doesn't add up.
Right.
Dr. Dre is influential. We know everybody who came from him, right? Eminem, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, so many artists, so much. Back to NWA with Ice Cube. He was married, going through marital therapy counseling. Dr. Sophie was one of the counselors, I guess, involved in that. And then ultimately he got divorced. And something happened between the two of them. There's something that it's not all the way out there yet. There's some breakdown where I don't know what happened, but he's allegedly threatening him. The text messages, while largely inadmissible, unless they're, a
threat on his life
confirmed, they say that he was threatening him, like, I'm going to kill you. I know where you live, et cetera, to the point where the man was walking out of his house with a bulletproof vest. So he's placing him in what's called imminent apprehension of fear to his person. And the lawsuit has to go far enough to say that Dr. Dre, who he is, his presence in Southern California, right, without saying it ties to the gang community, has the ability to effectuate these threats against me. He's not some person in New York without the resources to fly to LA who's mad because you got to an argument at the airport, who finds you on Facebook and says, I'm going to come hit you with a bat. Okay, that person, they can say whatever they want. You can't sue him for $10 million. But Dr. Dre has the ability in his lawsuit to effectuate these threats against him. And that's what we're talking about here. That's the basis of this.
Okay. And then, let's extend that conversation, because what I also read around this case was that the $10 million that he is seeking, right, is exemplary and punitive damages, right? Along with compensatory damages, as well as actual. And he's saying that that's all based on the intentional infliction of emotional distress. How do you legally qualify, and anyone can take this, how do you legally qualify as an act of intentional infliction of emotional distress? What has to happen?
Well, you have to, right? So you have to mean it, right? If I pocket simple. If I pocket dial Shaitan Turner and say, if you continue to bash me, I'm going to come get you. But it was an accident because my phone just spells stuff, right? Then that is not intentional. That's an extreme example, people. I would never do that to Shaitan. I love her to death, and it's just a joke. But if, let's suppose Dr. Dre says to Dr. Sophie, I know you said something to my wife about blah, blah, blah. I'm going to come kill you for that.
Got it.
Intending to place him in imminent, immediate fear of his life. And now you go into the damages portion of it and you say, How did that damage you? I couldn't sleep. I had to walk outside the house with a life that a bulletproof vest on. I didn't go to my normal coffee shop because I met him there every day for a year, and he knows I go there, and I can't. I'm in fear of my life. I can't sleep. I've lost weight. I'm in cold sweats. I myself had to seek therapy because of the fear he placed me in. Those are the type of damages that he's going to be going after for him.
Attorney Jay Carter, tell me, if you were representing Dr. Dre, what would you be telling him right now as it relates to this lawsuit?
Well, I mean, again, if you're defending him, I think you have to start in the place of, and again, I don't know if these are text messages, because if this is all verbal, it's gonna be he said, she said. So
well, it's text messages, night messages, text messages, voice messages.
Okay. So
yeah.
Depending on what the night messages, voice messages, and the written text are saying, I mean, I think Dr. Dre lawyer would have to start in a place of, I was under duress myself.
Right.
And I made these comments when I was under severe duress myself. These comments were in no way made because I was actually, as Brian said, you got to prove that the doctor felt like he was in imminent danger of actual harm in order to waive the privilege, right? So in this case, he would have to say, what I'm saying, he couldn't have believed that I was going to show up and, blow his face off, or, why would someone of my stature, I'm a Hollywood figure, why would I throw my whole career away, killing my doctor, harming my doctor? That's not believable. Clearly, I was saying what I was saying under some sort of distress. I think that's the only place he can come from. And again, that's not a really strong position, depending on what these text messages and voicemails said. Look, I watched Straight Outta Compton. Okay. This is the one time I don't know if I was around, when born around the time it actually happened, but I watched the movie. I believe he was keyboard.
Well, yeah, he was the real NWA. All right, Attorney Shaitan Turner, jump in here. If you were defending the psychiatrist, what would your argument be to the courts?
Well, he doesn't need defense because he's the plaintiff here, but I wanted to throw a little bit of a different spin on what's happening here, which goes to how you presented it initially, right?
Okay.
So Dr. Dre and his wife were seeking therapy from this doctor. What I imagine happened is the doctor said something that resulted in Dr. Dre's divorce, and Dre is blaming him, and he probably had to pay his wife a lot of money, and he didn't want to pay a lot of money. That's what I suspect. And because
I forgot. My bad. I forgot. Never ask an attorney that's going through a separation about relationship. I just
think that's probably what happened because he's so angry, right? And the other thing is he's got this, global award he got from the Grammys, right? So he's like royalty now in the music industry, not just limited to hip hop. But here's the thing. If I were going to represent Dre in this, I would take a therapeutic privilege approach. I think it's weak, but here's what I would say. I would say all my communications with this therapist were in the context of him treating me. And as a result, he was prohibited from bringing these out publicly. I did not waive the privilege, and he has violated HIPAA. And he also is just out of pocket with his professional standards. Now, the doctor or the therapist can overcome this and say, look, there's an exception when crimes are going to be committed. And I thought that there was going to be a crime. But I think that Dre's attorneys are going to have to be creative, because otherwise it's just him threatening to kill someone, and they have text messages as proof. And so they're going to have to do some things to try to prevent it from coming in. I think the therapeutic privilege argument at least could buy them some time, because it introduces more difficult things for the therapist to overcome. And maybe the therapist doesn't have Dre's resources, and so they might be inclined to settle. I mean, in truth, what the therapist wants is for him not to kill him. And let's not forget, Dr. Dre is hip hop royalty or music royalty now. But as Jay Carter mentioned, she saw Straight Outta Compton, and Miss Chalet has been saying for years that he beat her up on a regular. And there's also evidence to show that he's like flipped out on other people,
right?
Not dissimilar from Diddy. So the therapist is going to have all that, circumstantial evidence.
Right.
Say, hey, I had a real appreciation for feeling threatened. And when he sent those messages, as Attorney Ross indicated, he knew that when I received them, that they would cause me emotional distress. That's the intentional, because there's a negligent infliction of emotional distress claim that's different. But the intentional one is that a reasonable person, upon having whatever was done to them, would feel emotional distress. And I think the doctor is probably going to overcome that hurdle.
Wow.
Well, you know what? It's just behooves me that the doctor is wearing a bulletproof vest when he leaves the house. I'm just like, you really distressed, brother. Like, you are really distressed when you are wearing a bulletproof vest. All right, let's keep it moving. I told you guys it was fiery in the chambers. It's only going to get heavier right now. Tyler from Love is Blind. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. And when I tell you, Jay Carter's got a lot to say about this,
I sure do.
From the legal perspective, there are several potential ramifications to Tyler's revelation that he's a sperm donor to children, especially when considering his relationship with Ashley on Love is Blind, meaning that they were simply months away from getting married. These legal issues revolve around disclosure, trust, and the extent of Tyler's involvement with the children he fathered as a sperm donor. Let's break this down, Attorney Jay Carter.
So let's first start off with the fact that he has since, Tyler here to the left here, has since said he does not regret not telling. If you don't watch the show Love is Blind, you're in a pod behind a wall. And you
Really?
Yes. So for the first half of the show, you're just talking to different women, doing speed dating behind a wall with various women. The woman you like the most, you propose to. And if she says yes, she comes from behind the wall. You get engaged. You go on a little pre-vacation. You live together for 2 weeks. And then you decide if you want to walk down the aisle or not. That is the summary of the show if you don't watch this show.
Got it.
Now, my issue with him, let's first start off with saying, he's already told the press, well, I don't regret not telling her I was a donor to these 3 babies because, you know, I'm light-skinned and I already get a hard time. I said, sir, what does you being like?
Carter in my court. What is the point? What's the point of mentioning this, Counselor Carter?
Okay, well,
Counselor Carter, excuse me, Counselor Carter. You need to strike that comment, Counselor Carter.
This is what came out of his mouth, not out of my mouth. He says that he believes because he is fair-skinned, he gets a hard time. So he didn't want to give himself any more hard of a time trying to explain this donor situation to a woman behind the wall. I am making the statement. I'm letting you guys know this because I don't think he is a very genuine person.
All right, hold that thought right there. Attorney Brian Ross, as the man on the panel, help me understand this, because as I understood being a sperm donor, and I'm really telling my age, but back in the day when I was in college, if you were a little bit low on money, you could do 2 things. You could donate blood, and you could donate sperm, and you could get a good check. Am I supposed to tell every woman that I've dated, especially when I signed a disclosure that I'm choosing not to disclose? Am I supposed to tell every woman that I've dated, or man in my case, that I've donated sperm?
I'm
Am
sorry.
I legally bound to tell this?
I'm going to answer the question, Judge. I'm just a little shocked that some little Judge Al Reynolds walking around somewhere, but yeah, we'll leave that alone. I think that okay. If I donate, right? If I donate, I shouldn't have to disclose to you that I donate.
That's what I'm thinking.
If I was married or had a girlfriend before, whatever, and she got pregnant, I have an 8-year-old son walking around that I support and I know of, I should have to disclose that to you in contemplation of marriage. In some jurisdictions, probably a way to get divorced, right? Yet, hey, you had kids, you didn't tell me, right? I mean, I don't practice family law, so I'm taking a stab at it. But if you have kids on either side and don't disclose that, you probably could get divorced for that reason, right? You can get out of it.
Well, beyond
Yeah.
divorce, you can get an annulment probably.
Okay, an annulment, right?
Probably
Thank
get
you.
an annulment. You can say that I got married under false pretenses, which thank you for bringing it back to me. So
Yes.
this is the key to this case. It wasn't that, oh, I was a donor father and I just didn't want to mention it to you because it's an uncomfortable thing that I did.
Right.
No, this wouldn't even be on this show if that was the case. The issue here is the man signed his name on the children's birth certificates. He now owes $30,000 in child support, and their images he tried to scrub off the internet with him taking Christmas photos with the matching pajamas. This is what the issue is. If
Right.
you-
And so that's why I pushed back with you in the chambers, because it was my understanding, allegedly, that he had legal contracts in place protecting him from future involvement or obligation because he was simply a sperm donor. Are you telling me, now this is what I need clarity, are you telling me because he signed the birth certificate and not only just signed the birth certificate, but he also participated with visits to his sperm babies, that trumps the possible, because we don't know, we haven't seen it, does that trump the possible legal contract that he signed when he was at the sperm donor center?
I think the answer to this has to be yes, because there is already a court order before this show even started that he owes $30,000. See, what you have to understand is, and this is why a lot of guys are not rushing to put their name on a birth certificate when they're not married to a woman and they have a kid with them, because in some states, if you sign the birth certificate, even if you're found out later to not be the father because you signed the birth certificate, you still owe the child support. That's your
Wow, I did not know that.
You
I did
are
not know
the father.
that.
Right. So this is why sometimes people are not rushing to put their name on birth certificates if they're not married to the woman. That's just a side note. Back to Tyler. He did sign the child support. I'm sorry. He did sign the birth certificate. So in this case, he, in any jurisdiction, really, you signed the birth certificate. Not only can you be held liable for child support, if he died, the Social Security benefits would go to the kids, which in this case, I don't know if there'll be any Social Security benefits because supposedly he ain't got no job either. His job title changed 4 times throughout the show. So I don't even know if he has a job.
That is shade. That is shade. That is shade.
All I'm saying is
That is shade.
he's legally bound to these kids, even if you want to set aside the photos. Let's just say set aside the matching pajama photos and him taking
And set aside the contracts.
and let's set aside the contract.
Okay.
You signed the birth certificate. You are now no court. Because here's my thing. I'm pretty sure he had an opportunity to tell the court, well, hey, I don't owe the child support because I signed this agreement relinquishing all my rights and blah, 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 blah. I'm assuming the court would have addressed that then. The fact that the court did not take that into consideration and still held him liable for $30,000 in child support, something tells me something is not right about that agreement. Something is going on with that agreement. I would love to see that agreement. And maybe that's something that will come out by the reunion, what exactly he signed. But as of now, he has court-ordered $30,000 child support.
So you're basically arguing that his lack of transparency is a form of fraud and misrepresentation, and that's how she could, get out of this.
We don't know if they actually get married. The word on the street is they did, okay? But at that point, she would have already known. We're saying if they were to get married, and she didn't know this information, she could
use that for a possible
annulment. But as it relates to the child's mom, the word on the street is not. First, they were saying she was bisexual and they were just friends, and he helped her.
Oh, I love that.
Now,
what's her name? Give me a call, lady.
But now the word on the street is no, she's just a straight up lesbian. She ain't even bisexual. And
I like them too. Tell her to call me.
So there would be no chance. There would be supposedly someone that lives in DC that knows the child's mom, went on Threads, which is like Instagram's version of Twitter, and
allegedly, right?
Allegedly, that it's not even that she's bisexual. She is just a straight up lesbian. There was no real relationship between him and her. But the thing is, bisexual, lesbian.
They called it, you are messy.
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, he gave the sperm regardless of her sexuality. He put his name on the certificate, and so here we are, waiting to see if, this Ashley child,
Oh, the court of public opinion got messy tonight. Oh my God, everyone. This is a part of the show. Thank you so much. Be sure to hit that like. Okay, go ahead, Attorney Turner.
This is like a law school exam question to me that has layers from a continuum. So you were asking questions about the agreement and whether or not it holds muster. The agreement may have been pristine, but the agreement would have been executed when the children were still in utero if it happened in the ordinary course of things, right? What Jay Carter was discussing were the pattern and practice of these two people at delivery and after the children were born. And so the reason I suspect that he had to pay child support is regardless of what he intended when he signed the contracts, he altered his relationship with these children upon delivery when he signed the birth certificate. And when he signed the birth certificate, he was attesting to the state that these were his legal children, right? So that changed what he had
when
said
you sign that birth certificate.
Exactly. And then the relationship they had afterward just further supports that he was the father, but he altered it. It'd be no different than, someone telling someone in advance, like, hey, let's go half on a baby, but really you don't have to pay because I got this. And then the baby's born and you sign the birth certificate, then that's your kid, right? And anything that you said and whatever agreement was before the baby was born does not matter because it's your kid, because you have told the state that this is mine and I'm going to take care of this child.
All right, let me ask you this. Hold on thought 1 second, because I'm old, I will forget. All right. So if you sign the birth certificate in good faith thinking it's your child, okay? And then you find out after swabbing the child that the child is actually not yours, does it void the signature on the birth certificate as it relates to your
Your Honor, I have an example for you. There is this poor man, people can look it up in the New York Times because it's been reported, in Pennsylvania, because the presumption, if you're married, because the presumption of paternity is so strong in marriage, and this gentleman believed this was his child and he signed the birth certificate, here's what happened to him. And Attorney Ross will be upset if he doesn't know this case. His wife was stepping out on him, right?
Oh boy.
And they decided that they were really in love, and they decided to act upon that love formally when this child was like 9 years old, right? So she leaves her husband, moves in with her paramour, divorces the husband, marries her paramour, and then has 50-50 custody with her first husband. And it was proven that that was not his child. The court held that he could not get out of child support obligations because it was not in the best interest of the child, because they did not want to promote a society where children could all of a sudden.
Oh, that's bull crap.
That's what happened. Look it up. It's a true
That's
story.
crazy. That's crazy.
It's true.
I need a different lawyer. I need a different lawyer.
I'm appealing that to the Supreme Court.
Right. I'm taking that all the way. That trashy ex-wife of mine sleeping around and being deceptive. You talking about fraud. That's fraud right there.
Dead
my heart did break for him because Attorney Ross is acting like I'm this big man basher. And I do have a heart. And what he was quoted as saying in the New York Times, he said, I love her, this little girl. I want to maintain a relationship with her, but I just it's not funny, but I have a problem paying child support to an intact family when that's not my kid.
When that's not her kid. I agree.
Right.
I agree.
But he had
all right, everybody, we're running long tonight. This is part of the show where we go straight to your questions. We're going to run through these really quickly. Billy Littles, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Billy Littles' question is, why did Jay-Z and Beyonce's legal team only get involved when Jaguar made it to Piers Morgan? Jaguar been saying the same thing on the Black Internet for years. I think we talked about that, right? Anybody want to touch on that real quick? We think it's because of his platform.
Right, and it's a white platform.
It's a white platform, his influence. And so they felt like if it came out of his platform, then it must be some type of truth to it. All right. Nicole, they say I called it live. Thank you, Nicole. Jeanette Hunter says, what is the legal process of separating people jumping on the bandwagon versus the legit victims in the Diddy case? I think Jay Carter answered that. She said that the lawyers have to do a better job of ciphering through this. Other than that, this is what you get. The only issue I have with this, and you guys, we can talk about this another time, is that it really does water, right? It really muddies the water in his defense can claim, look, this is unfair, right? So he could possibly get some type of ruling or outcome of not taking responsibility for all his bad things based on all of these false claims. That's what I'm concerned about. All right. Melina _NC, Eshton Turner, will any of the tapes along with celebrities be named in the Diddy trial?
Most likely. They were sequestered by Homeland Security with the intent of them being evidence in the criminal case. And so I imagine that we're going to see them presented as evidence. Diddy's lawyers are likely going to assert a series of defenses to try to preclude them from being admitted. So we'll see what happens.
Right now, we've also heard, and how true is this, Jay Carter? I know you got your finger on the pulse with this. They're also saying that they want to keep these names out of the media. Is that possible, if given that it's a court document that's supposed to be open to all people?
I don't know which parts, but they've already said that certain parts will be underneath seal. If you go
Right.
back a week ago, they've already
Yeah.
said that certain
They
things
said that it
will
would be
sealed
sealed.
and
That's
will
going to
be
be
released.
interesting. That's going to be really interesting. I wonder if they're doing that because there's certain people of influence that they
Oh,
don't know about.
absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right, Kenny Black, you were on fire tonight. LOL. And Dre is swole. Could be roid raging.
Oh, well.
Good D.
All right. IBDA SHID. Y'all tell me how to say that. He was selling the baby juice. Oh no, not he was selling it. Does this really count? He doesn't know these kids. Well, according to Jay Carter, he actually visits the kids.
Mhm.
So he actually knows the kids. All right, let's go back to IBDA SHID. What kind of back page turned on?
He's saying, I be the shit. I be the shit. Like,
Oh,
how
I
you
be the
shit?
shit. I be the shit. Okay, I be the shit. Okay, she said very ghetto, very not Jamora. Okay. I be the
like
shit. Oh wow. Okay. Abby NYC, the MM family. He's in contact with the donations. Yes, he's in
Yes,
contact
he
with the
is.
donations.
It doesn't matter. I donated.
I know, right? I be the shit said, I wonder what Maury would say about this. This episode would be loud. And I be the shit said, so Tyler is on the show for a check. He got to pay those babies. All right.
For Attorney
All
Ross,
right. This is
for Attorney
I'm sorry?
Ross's point for algorators, here's a piece of advice. If you are a known sperm donor, which is what Tyler is trying to assert here, he was a known donor, then you need a lawyer to tell you don't do stupid shit like put your name on the birth certificate and take pictures with them and play with them at the playground. If you're a known donor and you want to preserve that status, then you
Keep it
keep
separate.
at arm's length.
a Chinese wall. Okay, that sounds good. Also, what I learned today, because I always learn something with this particular panel, you guys always teach me something, I swear. I did not know that once you sign that birth certificate, right, you are taking, that's almost like a legal contract. It's
Yeah.
basically
Now,
what you're
there's some
saying to me.
exceptions. If you're not married, you can put in, and I believe Kenny Black put in the comments, you can put in a contested paternity motion where you can get a test done, and you see what I'm saying? So if you're
Yeah.
unmarried, there is a way that you can go back and do it, but it's usually within a certain time frame. But if you sit on
Right,
your
because
right, you're not sure.
Well, and
right,
mentally-
because the reason why I said this is because there are already so many people out there that are on child support and don't pay it, and those guys end up in prison. So
Oh yeah.
to Attorney Turner's comment, this is why men aren't signing those birth certificates.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and
So
the
that
other
they don't
Man.
find themselves on the other side of the law, having to be taken to court to pay child support. All right, I'm sorry, everybody. We're running way over. We're running way over. Now, this is a part of the show where we go to give our verdict of the cases that we covered. First up, Piers Morgan. All right, attorneys. Piers Morgan, is he guilty or not guilty of sloppy journalism. Attorney Shatan Turner, what say you?
I don't like him, so he's guilty.
Attorney J. Carter.
Guilty.
All right, Brian Ross.
Responsible journalism.
Brian Ross,
He's
what
not-
say you?
He's not guilty. He's actually doing a great job of bringing people on here who could expose certain issues. He's not guilty.
This is Al Reynolds, and I'm in the court of public. I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion, and I'm going to find Pierce Morgan, even though I don't like him, not guilty. I think the only thing he's guilty of is allowing her to come on and not say allegedly. He knows better. He knows better, and he should do better. But I do like the idea of him having relations with other people in the community to give them a voice. Unfortunately, he gave the voice to the wrong person. All right, next up, Kanye West. Is Kanye West guilty or not guilty of sexually assaulting and drugging this woman and also sending her nude pictures and making her workplace harassment? Attorney Turner, what say you?
The eyes tell the story.
Oh my God.
Guilty. Attorney J. Carter?
I think he may be guilty of the workplace harassment or maybe the wrongful termination. I'm the jury is out on the sexual assault part. I need to hear some more evidence.
Attorney Ross?
It's not his fault that the shower in his hotel, the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco, didn't work. He had to go upstairs to another shower. It was the only person he knew. It was an emergency. I didn't mean to drop a towel in front of you. I just wanted to take a shower. I thought you were asleep. So no, he's not guilty.
All right, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion. And we're going to find Kanye West guilty as charged.
There's only one bathroom in the Ritz-Carlton. You're
Oh,
Okay, but if it wasn't for all the other, explicit pictures and all of that, and the drugging and the it's just too much is going on here.
at Diddy's studio.
I know, but it's just too much.
I think they
Sorry. I made my decision. Next up, Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, is he guilty or not guilty of harassing this poor Dr. Charles Sophie to the point where Sophie is wearing a bulletproof vest when he leaves the house? Attorney Shatan Turner, what say you?
I don't mean to laugh at the doctor. I really don't, to make light of his suffering, but I need to hear more because Dre is not a stupid man. And so this story just defies logic to me.
Okay,
So
guilty, not guilty, not guilty. All right, Attorney Brian Ross.
He's guilty. He did it.
Ooh, all right. He's all right. Well, don't be mad if Dr. Dre comes after you in your practice.
Hold
All
up.
right, Jay Carter, what say you?
Brian is only saying he's guilty because of those texts in the voicemail. He knows it's
That's
probably
it. The voicemail speaks for itself, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking guilty just because of the voice memos and the text. Yeah.
Well, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion, and I'm going to find Dr. Dre because I live here in LA. Not guilty. Not guilty. Dr. Dre was going through it. You're his psychologist or psychiatrist. You're supposed to walk him down off of this cliff. He said he wants to kill you. You're supposed to turn that kill to love. All right, that's just my professional opinion. That and $2.50 will get you a ride from here to the LAX. All right, next up, Love is Blind. What do we is Tyler guilty of fraud and misrepresentation? Attorney Brian Ross, what say you?
No, he's not guilty of any fraud because he donated. All right, he donated, and I don't have to tell you anything about donated. Now, if I had a relationship, I get it. I donated, so I'm not guilty. Fine. That's
All right, Attorney Shatan Turner, guilty, not guilty.
I mean, I don't know everywhere Attorney Ross has donated his sperm.
Still. My mic's not working. My mic's not working.
Tyler is guilty.
All right, Jay Carter, is he guilty or not guilty of fraud and misrepresentation?
I think he's guilty. He could have disclosed more.
I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion, and I'm going to rule not guilty until proven guilty. I just don't understand. I think the part that's got me is him signing the birth certificate, right? And the fact that he's taking pictures in like pajamas and then taking it all down. I personally think that he took all that down because he was trying out for a show, and the producers probably told him that he needed to take those down. I don't think he took it down because he was trying to be fraudulent. And then the other side of that, if he's being fraudulent, then she's being fraudulent because, hey, from allegedly whatever these little chats are saying, she don't even like the ping ping. So who's frauding who? Who's frauding who here? All right, everybody, that's going to conclude tonight's show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share of the subscribe.
Guilty of being
Just bring
like
people over here so that they can see this show like tonight. Also, turn on your notifications because we're going to have the African brothers, the Osundaro brothers, here talking about the Justice Smollett case on Friday. All right, that concludes tonight's show. Everyone have a wonderful night. Court is now adjourned.